Welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. This is a show all about implanting hope in our hearts. I'm Bill Snyder, joined by my friend Ann DeSantis. We're glad you're here for our uplifting conversation about faith and how it sustains our hearts through all the seasons of life. Thanks for walking with us. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. I am Bill Snyder. It's great to be with you, and thank you so much for tuning in and listening, no matter where you are listening from. Thank you so much for being here this evening, and know that you can always listen on demand. If you're listening on demand, thank you very much for tuning in, but know you can listen live at 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's Eastern Standard Time, folks. But we are excited for tonight's show because we have a very good friend of our ministry on tonight, Penni Warner. She's a very good friend of ours, and looking forward to that. As always, I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Ann DeSantis. Ann, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm great. And I've been very excited about our guest, as you said.
Yes, me too.
Because she's become a friend, and she's doing amazing work through her relationship with God and how God has led her into a beautiful ministry. So we're going to talk a lot about that on this evening. And I'd love to read you her bio, if I could.
Yes.
So with us, we have Penni Warner. She is a wife of 28 years to her wonderful husband. They have 4 children, and their daughter is studying at Benedictine College in Atkinson, Kansas. Penni homeschooled their boys who are 17, 13, and 11. Penni and her husband came into the church in the year 2000. Her husband and her are volunteer youth ministers for 2 parishes, and they believe in equipping the youth to be a strong church militant. Penni is also the music director at her own parish, and she loves to lead community into worship before the Lord. Penni and her husband are also the founders of Grace and Mercy Ministries, and they're humbled to receive the prayer of the Love Chaplet to be able to share it with the whole world. So thank you so much. And I have to say this, that the Love Chaplet, which we're going to talk a lot about, is something that's affected my own life and my family, my husband and I, my 2 daughters, and we're very grateful to you because it's a beautiful, beautiful prayer that God presented to you. So why don't we start there? I mean, I know it's kind of a long story, but wherever you want to, whatever you want to share about your life, faith, and mission, we'd love to hear.
Well, thank you so much, Ann, for having me on again, you and Bill. I just love you guys. We've become such good friends just in the past year or so. And, I was talking to Bill. It's kind of strange that, God brings us all together in a lot of different ways. And this pandemic has really brought a lot of people together. And so who knows, I may not have even met you if that hadn't happened. But as far as the Love Chaplet is concerned, I had a real devotion to the Divine Mercy Chaplet way back when we first we converted in 2000, and I was listening to the EWTN, and I heard this beautiful prayer come up on the TV. And of course, being a convert, I didn't really know what a chaplet was. I didn't really kind of know even what the rosary was at that point. But I heard it being sung on EWTN, and at that point, I just knew that it was a beautiful prayer. I love music, and to hear prayer be put to music, I just love. And so when I heard it, I just thought, oh, that's so beautiful. And then I didn't hear it again for a long time. And we had moved to Warrensburg, in a town not too far from where my husband grew up. And I became the cantor for a Newman Center there. And we had some missionaries come through, and we were kind of hosting them. And in the chaos of the room and the house, it was so loud in there, I heard in the distance that same prayer being sung. Since I had found out that it was the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And so I went home and I had my husband put it on my computer and I listened to it periodically throughout the day. And when I would do that, I just felt so peaceful. If things were going wrong, I'd put that on, and all of a sudden it would kind of bring me back to a little bit more of a sane atmosphere in my home. And so I started to listen to that. God would wake me up early in the morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't even realize that 3 o'clock in the afternoon was when this prayer was supposed to be said. So it's kind of a joke between God and I that he would wake me up early in the morning because I didn't have time in the afternoon. So he'd wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd go down to my kitchen table and I would begin to sing the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And one day I felt this overwhelming urge of love for Christ. And, in America, the word love is just so overused, and so when you tell Jesus that we love him, you could say you love pizza too. You can say you love a lot of things. So I couldn't quite get the right words out to say how much I loved him at that point. And so I simply asked him, Lord, just tell me how I can express my love for you because I love you so much. And about that time, everything became very peaceful. And I looked to my left, and there my Lord sat crouched next to me. And he was bloodied and bruised on the day of his crucifixion. And, you would think that I would be very, very scared. But it really wasn't a time of being fearful. It was just such a peaceful time between me and my Lord. And what I remember most are his beautiful eyes. And I say beautiful, but even the words can't even express how beautiful, clear blue. And it was as if we were sharing a love exchange between him and I together. And I can't really explain the whole thing, but it was the most amazing love I have ever felt in all my life. I've been married 28 years. I have children, and I love them beyond belief. But this love was a deeper kind of love, and it touched the very core of me and what I wanted to say to him. But I asked him to tell me how I could love him. And about that time, he began to share with me these words, and I began to write them down. And at the time, of course, it wasn't called the Love Chaplet prayer. It was just words that I could express my love, how I could show my love to him. And I began to write them down. And the more I said it, the more I just fell deeper and deeper in love with him. And then he started to share with me about this Love Chaplet and what he wanted me to do with it. And he wanted me to make an actual chaplet with it, sort of like a rosary. And at first I thought it was supposed to have 10 beads, like a regular rosary, but in between the two, Our Fathers were only supposed to be 5 beads. And I asked God, why? I asked him, why just 5 beads? And he said, because this chaplet is for the youth, and it's going to help the youth tell me how much they love me. And if it's 5 beads, then they're going to pay attention a little bit more because it's not as long as a prayer as a rosary. So it's kind of a way of a bridge to get to those bigger prayers, that smaller Love Chaplet. And so he began to share with me the colors of the chaplet and how to make it. And is there anything you want to go say in between there? I can stop for just a second if you want me to.
No, I just love listening to it because that interaction that you had where you were able to look at his eyes and you said that the love that you felt. And that's what I think. I think that's what that love that you felt. I think that's what God wanted you to express to everybody else.
Yes. And I've had several people say that when they're holding the chaplet and they're praying it, that this overwhelming love, like a warm blanket, will just envelop them and they will have a love for Christ that they've never had before. And that is exactly what happened to me. Like it allowed me to share part of myself that I had never shared before with anyone. And I had reserved that for Christ. And that allowed me to do that. So,
what a mission. It's an amazing, amazing mission. And at the beginning of the show now, of course, we're going to do it now and we're going to do it later. But people are listening and thinking, oh my goodness, I want that chaplet. And I can't tell you how glad I am that I have it. Yeah. And so please do at the beginning of the show, and like I said, we'll repeat it, tell people how they can get a hold of it so that they can start to pray the way that you have learned to pray in this very special prayer.
Okay. My website is lovechaplet.com. Very simple, lovechaplet.com. And you'll go onto my website and you can actually read a little bit about the story that I just shared. And then there's a place where it says contact, and you push contact, and then you can email me and tell me, how many you might want. And I can email you right back and get a place to send them. And I'll send them out as soon as I can, like I did with Ann and Bill. Both of you have them. And it's a real honor to be able to make them for people myself. I love to think about the people that I'm making them for. And sometimes God will or Jesus will kind of tell me what to put on them, which has been kind of amazing. I have people say, how did you know to put that on there? Well, because Jesus does it just for that person. And it's amazing what he has had me put on different people's love chaplets. So
it is amazing. And I have to say that, like, during this pandemic, my parents were in an assisted living, which I know, Penny, you know that, because what you did was you sent my parents the love chaplet, and you sent a priest friend of mine who listens to this podcast sometimes also the love chaplet, and my whole family. So I can't say enough good. And I would say to anybody listening that this is something that you want to get a hold of. And Penny is only asking for a donation. She's not even asking for, like, say $10 or whatever a chaplet. Tell them how that works. So what do? They don't even need to specifically, they can choose how much they want to give, right?
Yes, they can. When a lot of people say, well, you need to put a price on it. You need to put, and I just can't. I just can't put a price on it because there's people out there who can't afford anything. And I don't want money or anything to ever come between getting this love chaplet and getting it for themselves. So, of course, any money that I do get off with donation, I always put it back into the making of the love chaplets and the different beads and the things that I have to get to put them together. So any donation that I get is for that purpose. And so, they don't even have to know how much they're going to send me. I just send them the stuff. And if they want to, send me donation, fine. But if not, I don't even, that's not even a thing, anything for me. So please don't hesitate to contact me. Even if it's nothing you can send, I just pray for me and the mission of the love chaplet. That's what I want to do the most. So,
yeah, these prayers, folks, are awesome. And Penny knows when I pray this in the majority, the majority of the time, especially during Lent here. I find the time when I'm on my exercise bike to pray,
which is so funny.
Which is funny.
But hey,
but it works, and it's beautiful. And really, it does take about half the time it would take you to pray a rosary. But it's a beautiful prayer, and one that I know is touching hearts and souls and minds. And I always like to just for listeners out there to give them peace of mind too. Just we hear so much about these beautiful encounters with the Lord like Penny has, and many people have had beautiful encounters, but the thing that adds a ton of credibility to this is that, Penny really has sought out the approval from her bishop to spread this. So
Yes.
so it's not just something that was dreamed up and sent out. Like, no, she has discerned this well, and she has contacted her local bishop, and she has said, what do you think about me spreading this? And so because of how, her obedience to the church and her obedience to the magisterium and all those things, that this creates the power and the weight behind something like this. And so, folks, I just encourage you, again, her website is very simple. It's lovechaplet.com, and I encourage you to go and visit her website, take a look at it, and see how you can participate in this. As you said earlier, Penny, the Divine Mercy Chaplet is, God's telling us about how much He loves us, and this is the response to that. The Love Chaplet lets us know, or lets God know how much we love Him, and it really is true. Right. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. The other thing that I want to make sure we touch on here in this episode too is the fact that this prayer and these words of the prayer, we actually, the two of us, kind of came together and modified the Love Chaplet and the Contemplative Stations of the Cross into a version of the Stations of the Cross that we call the Path of Love, and we ended up doing a virtual mission because our mission got canceled at the end beginning of last year. At the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, we were going to be doing an in-person mission, and it ended up getting canceled. So Penny and I did a virtual mission that you can access through Patchwork Heart Ministry. But as part of that, we developed this prayer that combined the prayers of the Love Chaplet with the Stations of the Cross. And that was totally inspired by the Holy Spirit because these two things effortlessly fit together in about 15 seconds, right?
Exactly. It did.
There was no argument, there was no discussion, this is just how this is supposed to fit.
Yeah, it totally was, because it was really weird because at one time I had been praying, and I got this idea of this path of love and going from one station to the other and using the Love Chaplet in the midst of this station. And I was telling you, Bill, about it. And Bill's like, well, I have written a contemplative love stations. And I was like, what? so I'm like, well, let's just talk about that for a minute. So we did. And I mean, we got on there, we just did it. And it was as if God just put it together. It was amazing. Just like it was supposed to be together. It was just so cool. Absolutely.
And what I thought, a couple of things. Number one is that for folks who want to be able to listen to this, they can stream it wherever digital music is found. It is a good thing if you search our names and Path of Love. So if you search, The Path of Love, Bill Snyder, Penni Warner, it will pop up on any streaming service, Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your digital music, you can stream it and you can download it right away to your computer, or to your mobile phone or whatever. So the other thing is, I believe it's also on YouTube Music. So you can just go right to YouTube and type it in. You want to hear the song for free, you can do that. And with that being said, I thought, because we did have, it is Lent and it's a beautiful time. I thought maybe what we might do is just play like the first minute and a half of it while we're here today. So people can just listen to the first. This thing is 21 minutes long, folks. So it would suck up the remainder of the show to play the whole thing for you. But what I thought we would do is just maybe play a little bit of it so you can hear what it is, maybe like the first station, and then you can go on and listen to the remainder of it yourself. And it's a great thing for Fridays. Wake yourself up on Fridays, in Lent, and just click the play button. And it's a very meditative version, right? It's got a lot of beautiful. Yes. Music. I believe, Penny, you ended up composing some of the music. You had some of the original songs you wrote, and we put that, the instrumental versions of that behind this as a music bed.
Yes.
So
right.
Anyway, I just think it's worthy to share with all of you, and you also get to hear some of the prayers of the Love Chaplet. So let's just take a minute or so and listen to the first station of this.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So here we are. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world.
The first station, Jesus is condemned to death. The events of last night have culminated into a death sentence. Jesus is left feeling abandoned. Not a single friend has stood by his side and supported him. He stands in front of his accusers as they scream and plead for his death. As Jesus watches the bowl of water being brought to Pilate, he knows that he must walk this path. It is this, his final test, that will be the redemption of all who deserted him, those whom he loves so much.
My love for you flows like a river. I praise you, my holy Savior. My love for you flows like a river. I praise you, my holy Savior. My love for you flows like a river. I praise you, my holy Savior. My love for you flows like a river. I praise you, my holy Savior. My love for you flows like a river. I praise you, my holy Savior.
We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Because by your
And so you can hear that we really do take this meditative approach to walking through the stations of the cross with these beautiful prayers. And so I am so honored and blessed to be able to put this together with you, Penny, and share this with all of our listeners and more people during this Lenten season. So encourage people just to go and get a copy of it by simply searching. It's completely free on on YouTube and all of that. So listen to it and have your faith uplifted.
That is absolutely beautiful.
That was such an honor also, Bill, that you would even consider letting me do that with you. The stations were beautifully written, and just the whole meditative process of the whole thing was just amazing. And I know that God's going to use that so much, especially during Lent. I take it with me during when I walk through the stations in my church, and it is such a beautiful time to go through that. And it was an honor to do that with you. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you. I mean, even listening to that little bit just now, I can't think of, right. But I can't think of one friend or one person I know that wouldn't jump to get it right away because it's free. It is free. You don't need to pay even a dollar for that. So, I mean, my goodness, did you do a great job to both of you. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. And again, tell them one more time, how do they get a hold of it, Bill?
Yeah, the easiest way, again, you can purchase it for download. If you want to help our ministries, you can go into your iTunes and download it as a physical copy. That does cost like, I think, $5 or something like that. You can get a physical copy on our website or on our web store at patchworkheart.org when you click on online store. But to listen to it for free on streaming, go to YouTube, type in The Path of Love, and then our names, Bill Snyder, Penni Warner. Doesn't really matter what order you type our names in. It'll pop up. You'll see the Path of Love image there. And you just click play, and it will, it'll play. So you don't have to, again, you don't have to have a, purchase. You don't have to download it. If you would like to download it and take it with you on the go, or put it on your iPod or something like that, yeah, it does cost, I think, like $5.99 or something. But again, it's not a lot of money. So we and that does help support us. But know that you can just download it and listen to it for free. Because again, as Penny said, like this is worshiping God should be free. Right? Like worshiping God right. should be free. Right. There's no fee for worshiping God. So if we can put together great worship aids like this one, where we know, like, I mean, like when we know as we're doing it, we were doing this for the first time via Zoom. The two of us are doing this via Zoom for the first time. And when we finished, we both looked at each other and we're like, that was
what happened?
Right. Just what just happened? Like this, we absolutely have to have this out there. Like it was part of a larger mission that we were doing. And then we were like, oh no, we've got to snip this. We've got to cut this. We've got to put it out there for people, so that they can access this. And the Holy Spirit it was awesome.
It was definitely Holy Spirit inspired, I have to say, because it was amazing. Even praying it there together, it was as if we were just supposed to be sitting there praying it together. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So,
but I do encourage people to get the full love chaplet too. I mean, you only heard a few of the prayers here, but get the full love chaplet too, because that's it's a beautiful prayer. It's an easy prayer, and it's quick. Which is in my book, which is the thing that I love. Yeah. I love quick prayers.
Right. We all love. We love the quick prayers, and I don't. This love chaplet is not meant to take the place of anything, of the rosary, of the Divine Mercy Chaplet, all the beautiful prayers that we have in our church. The thing that I like to look at the love chaplet, like I said before, like a bridge. The younger kids, even little kids can pray this love chaplet and have their first little beads, in their hands, and that will give them a way to learn how to pray those meditative prayers, even with your parents. And then as you get older and more spiritually mature, then they will want to go on to the bigger prayers, the rosary, the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And so it's just a beautiful way to, like you said, the Divine Mercy Chaplet shows us Christ's love and his mercy for us. And he gave me this chaplet for you, for the world, so that you'll be able to show him your sacrificial love for him. And, I say God doesn't have to have that love. He's love. He is true love, but he desires that from us. And why wouldn't we want to sacrificially love Christ as he did for us? And this love chaplet really gives you a way to express that love that's been missing. In your life.
What a puzzle piece that everybody needs. The ingredient of the relationship with God, with Christ, is love, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many people that, and I think we've all been guilty at some point or another in our lives where it's this checklist, it's this to-do list, it's this opening up our catechism or our Bible and thinking of it as, okay, I'm a good Catholic now. I did this. I read
Right.
the Catechism for 15 minutes or whatever today.
Mm-hmm.
That's all good stuff. But at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, it's about the relationship. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you looked at his crystal blue eyes, I think you said.
Yes. Yeah. Like just a beautiful blue. Beautiful blue
Wow.
eyes. I can't explain the blue, the color of the blue. The thing that I can explain it the most is like if you're looking in a clear blue ocean and you can see like all the corals and all the things just crystal clear. It was kind of like that. It was like I was looking at him inside his eyes, which seems very strange, but I can't explain it. But hopefully when they say the prayer, we also have I have a picture also that I have painted that kind of it kind of looks like he did that day. And I hold that picture and it's the crucified Christ. I'm in love with the crucified Christ. I think he's beautiful. And so I look at this picture while I am praying the love chaplet, and it's as if I am seeing him all over again. And the prayer is so new to me, like every time I pray it, because it was not my prayer. And so it blesses me as much as it blesses other people when they're saying it. So I love to share it with as many people as I can.
You're a very special, I think, very holy and special woman who has a true, real relationship with Jesus Christ. And, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right? It is about the fact that we get to know Jesus as Catholics. And God has introduced you to himself in a very, very special way so that other people can also experience the same thing.
Yes,
So I'm just
the same thing. You were saying, that you think that I'm a holy woman, and to say that about me, I'm so grateful that people might see that. But the only reason why I would want people to see that is just so that they can want the same thing that I have, which is that relationship with Christ. We mess up and saying the love chaplet or the rosary brings us back to that center, to that relationship that you have broken. So, you have to, it's one of those things where, even if you mess up, God has given us those ways to draw back closer to him. And he never leaves us, even though we feel desolate sometimes, he never leaves us. And that's the biggest thing, is that I could share with others how to not only stay holy, but even through the bad times and the hard times of life. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's a beautiful thing, Penny, to know that, God is never going to leave you. He's never going to abandon you. And even your story reminds me of one of the saints, and I'm going to forget which one it is because I think it's Saint Teresa of Avila or Saint Teresa. I think it's Saint Teresa of Avila, where the Lord appeared to her at a family party or something, and had said, and he appeared wounded and bloodied from from being tortured and from the crucifixion and all, and he said to her, how long are you going to make me wait? How long are you going to make me wait for you? You might know what saint that is better than
Saint Teresa's little flower.
There you go. But that's
oh no, Faustina. Was it
Faustina? It might have been Faustina too.
Might have been Faustina.
Yeah, but
whom I love.
Yeah, right. Don't we all? But
I love her.
But you see that the parallel there, but it's such a beautiful thing to know that God is never going to abandon you. He's never going to leave you, and even if He looks like that, even if He's suffering for you in those moments, He is calling you to something greater. He's calling you to the expression of love. Like He's calling you to express your love for Him, and I think a lot of us during Lent, we come upon this thing where we have to be dour and we have to be sad and we have to get this attitude of like, oh poor me, it's Lent now and I can't eat my favorite
Big Mac.
chocolate, right? Yeah, exactly. Like I can't have my right. And I think that that's kind of the wrong approach to take. Like I think the way that you are encouraging people through this love chaplet to express their love for Christ and express their love for the sacrifice that He has made for you, and it leads you to joy. Like that leads you to joy. It doesn't lead you to this, oh poor me, I'm gonna now, like it leads you to uplifting place where He is gonna support you and fill you with more of His love, and help you do exactly what you're doing, evangelizing and creating ways for people to come to know Him. And that's how He creates you as that instrument. And so for folks out there listening, really encourage you to maybe shift the mindset of Lent if you're in that, oh poor me, oh my gosh, Lent stinks mode. Change the mindset and go to, no, let me express my love this way, and think of the little things you're doing as sacrifices, and those little things that you've offered up as ways to love God more. So that's important. And then the other thing, Penny, I definitely want to make sure we also talk about too is the fact that you have some really exciting things going on with the Love Chaplet, because God just keeps multiplying the ways that the Love Chaplet is supposed to be used in the world. And so I know you're developing some stuff for children as well. And so I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, because, as you said, this is for youth and this is for young people and for children. So tell us a little bit about how the Lord's doing that in your life.
Thank you.
It is so amazing. I was on a conference for smart Catholics, and I was able to share the Love Chaplet there on the conference. And one of the men who saw that conference was Raymond Haywood. And I know that you know him, Bill, and you've worked with him several times. And he contacted me, and he's a very holy man as well. He's amazing, and he works with fathers a lot. And he said, that God was speaking to him about using the Love Chaplet to allow mothers as the heart of the family to teach their young children how to pray. And, when Jesus gave me the Love Chaplet and told me that it was for the youth, that's what I thought, just youth, from this age to this age. But God has just taken this Love Chaplet and gone in so many different directions. And I never thought about kids using them, like little kids. And so the same week that he contacted me, I had a friend who teaches the 4th grade. And she said she has fallen in love with the Love Chaplet. And she asked me if I would come and teach her 4th graders, 20 of them, how to make the chaplet, the Love Chaplet, and how to pray it. So at this very same time, I'd never, ever thought about kids before. And so Ray contacts me about this. And also my friend wants me to come. Isn't that fun how God does those little things? And so I went and did this explaining to the 4th graders about the Love Chaplet and where it came from and how to make it. And I helped them make their own little Love Chaplet. So amazing. The kids just get it. Like, they don't have any questions. They're just like, oh, you saw Jesus? They don't think, they don't think, they just believe, and so I was then talking to Ray about that. And so we began to try to think of a way to get the love chaplet beads in the hands of the smaller kids so that can teach them how to pray, how the mothers can kneel down by their bed and have them actually hold the love chaplet. And, it's just amazing. And we're got a lot of different things with, possibly a book maybe. And it just opened up a whole new world. And so I have a friend who has a little girl. And I asked him if I could kind of use her a little bit to see how she would respond to this, And so I did. I talked to her, and I gave her a little packet with everything to make it, how to make the love chaplet and all the beads to make it. And I said, okay, sit down with her and see if she can make this love chaplet. She's in second grade, first communion type, she was in her first communion. And she sat down, and my friend said that he barely had to help her, that she put it all together. And then it was her own little love chaplet. And he says that she says it. And so do these little kids, like the teacher that I did this presentation to. They go to different specials. They'll go to music class. They'll go, and they'll sit outside and wait. And she would normally bring a book to kind of read to them and stuff. And one of the little boys was just very interested. And he's like, well, why can't we just take our love chaplet with us and say a love chaplet while we're waiting? And it's just, God is so amazing how he is taking this love chaplet, even like into the older adults too. And like you said, your mother and your father who are assistant living. I had a little old lady call me and wanted like 15 love chaplets to take them into the nursing homes so that they can pray for the youth. So, never underestimate the power of our Lord and the Holy Spirit to spread something by himself. He doesn't need any help, he just does it on his own. And now I'm sending love chaplets because of the pandemic and because of these conferences. I'm sending them to the Philippines. I just sent some the other day to Australia. It's just crazy, amazing what he's done. And one time I was in a group of young adults, college-age kids really love the love chaplet. Seems like a lot. And I was in this, and we were praying the rosary, and in the corner, I heard a little group of them praying the love chaplet, without me. And I just love that. People are doing it on their own, and I don't have to be involved in everybody now. It seems like it's just gone on its own. And I just thank God so much and I'm so humbled that he would even allow me to be a part of it. So just so humbled by that. So
I just love to hear your story, and your relationship with Christ comes right through. And I believe every word that you say, that the fact that you actually encountered him, because what he wanted to do is, you're a bridge. He's using you as a way to bring him to so many other people. There's a lot of people who are very skeptical about God. They're skeptical about Jesus and the relationship. They're skeptical that Christ even really is a human person that existed, that is the Son of God, that died for us. So I think that what you're telling us and this experience is a real thing that makes a difference for a lot of people. So
it has. And I'm Catholic. This is a Catholic podcast. But right. I have friends who are Protestant, and my family is Protestant. And they like to say the love chaplet as well, because it is a universal prayer. They may not even know, some people don't even know that it's Catholic, because it's just about loving Christ. It's about loving our Lord. And so they don't feel so bad about praying it because it doesn't say, anything about Mary or anything. But then who knows? Maybe the Love Chaplet could bring them to Christ through, to the Catholic Church through that. So, it's so amazing how he has taken it. And, Bill was also saying that I got my bishop's permission, and, that was a very big deal for me, huge deal, because you can't just go off rogue and start making up prayers and thinking that God, that the church is just going to embrace you. Right. You have to go through the proper channels. And so when Jesus asked me to start sharing it with people, I knew that I was going to have to get my bishop's permission, and I was not going to do anything outside of his permission. And so I made an appointment with him, and I called the chancery and I said, listen, I need to talk to my bishop. I said, I don't care how long it takes for me to get in there, but I have to see him. And they made an appointment, and I took him the Love Chaplet, and I took him all the papers showing, about my story, and I gave it to him, and I said, can you look at this and get back with me? What do you say? So he finally got back with me about 2 months later in an email that said he saw nothing wrong with the Love Chaplet, and that I'm free to spread it in his diocese. And when he did that, it was as if I got the permission to just go, and I did. And so it's been amazing. And he to this day, when I see him, I'm the chaplet lady, kind of like crazy chaplet lady. But it was very important to get his permission, and I appreciate him doing that for me, so.
Well, and as I said, the beautiful thing about that, Penny, is that it adds all the credence and the weight of the church behind it. When we talk about obedience to Christ, it is also obedience to his church. And so for you to recognize that and to know that, and not do anything outside of understanding that your local bishop, needed to approve it for you before you could begin spreading it and talking about it and sending it. And now look at the graces that have been bestowed upon it. You just said you're sending him to the Philippines, you're sending him to all over Australia, all over the world. And, that is because of the fidelity. That is because of the fidelity of you doing it the right way. And so I really encourage, people who may have, received, something similar to what Penny has received, because we don't know, but always go through and the proper channels and check with your local bishop. It might take a while.
Shepherds.
Yep. It might take a little while to get in. It might take a few months.
It might. It might.
But if it's truly from the Lord, he will open those channels because he's the one who established a church in that hierarchical order.
Right.
Christ did it. Christ did it that way. So if he wants it, it's going to fall. It's going to go make its way through that process, even if it takes time. And it does. It does take time.
It took 2 months before I got an email back, and I thought, oh my gosh, no matter how much I knew that I saw Christ that day, no matter how much I knew that I received the prayer, I thought, okay, if I don't get permission from my bishop, then I can't share it. And my spiritual director said the same thing. And he said, the only way we're going to see if this is truly from the Lord is the fruits that he has brought forth from it. And he has brought forth fruit that I never even dreamed would bring forth. It's been amazing. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And for those of you wondering too, if the Path of Love has that permission, so when I authored the Contemplative Stations of the Cross, it was done so with the permission of my bishop and the imprimatur is printed in the inside of the booklet. So these are 2 ecclesiastically approved devotionals, both approved by our local bishops, that we just simply combined. So know that both of them are, approved to be printed or to be shared. And you can with confidence pray them, and you don't have to believe that, everything about it. That's your own deal with the Lord. But you can trust and know that we've gone through the proper channels to make this a reality. So,
yes.
So yeah, Penny, oh my gosh, an hour flies by with you on here.
I know, I can't believe it. It went so fast.
It did. There's so much. I say it every time. Oh, I'm going to have me back because there's so much more stuff.
There is.
We didn't get to share.
We will. We have to have you back this summer. Now, as you know, Penny, and I'm so excited, and Bill's way more excited than I am, but we're taking a little break during the month of May because Bill will become a father.
Yay!
And yes, he already is a father, I should say. And little Elvin will be born.
Oh,
little Elvin Francesca.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll have to have you again sometime this summer because we're going to take a little break. We have a podcast series that's going to come during the time that Elvin's born called The Beatitudes, where Bill and I are going to unpack every week one beatitude during the month of May. So,
oh wow, that'll be great.
Forward to it. Yep.
Yeah. So please.
I cannot wait to see little Elvin.
Yeah.
I know. I can't either.
I just want to be able to kiss him, which I won't be able to do probably till he's in college. But
no, we're so blessed. My wife and I are so blessed. And those pictures, the 3D pictures, which we have none of for us, but the little 3D ultrasounds now are so unbelievable. It's like, okay, I just want to take them out and hold them now.
I know,
but
too early.
It's too early. It's still a few weeks early.
He looks so cute. I saw.
Adorable,
absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, you can really see. Like I've seen those before, and it's almost as if you put a picture on the inside and on the outside. They look so much.
Oh yeah,
the same. They're a
see that profile.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And our
awesome.
God is so good. And Penny, this has been so much fun, and I know that we're definitely going to do more of it. But yeah, folks, again, very simply, email or reach out to Penny on her website, which is very simply lovechaplet.com. You can get a chaplet, made for you, and also pray it. And then, of course, you can go over, and Friday is tomorrow, so you can set your alarm and go favorite the video on YouTube. Very simply, The Path of Love, Bill Snyder, Penni Warner. Just search it, favorite it, like it, whatever, and then tomorrow or even tonight, pray the Path of Love with Penny and myself. And know that each time you listen to it or download it, it does support our ministry. So whether you listen to it for free or whether you download it, it does support our ministry. So please consider that stuff. But folks, that's all we really have for you guys tonight. And wish we.
Yeah.
But yeah, know that I will be back with you. Can't believe we're saying that again next Tuesday. And thank you so much for all that you do as always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a good time.
Absolutely. Well, folks, don't forget our website too is patchworkheart.org. You can find out a bunch of stuff about our ministry there. And until next time, keep beating to your Catholic hearts and sowing hope into broken hearts.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart Radio. For more information about this podcast and our ministries, visit our websites, patchworkheart.org and andesantis.com. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter at PWH Ministry or Andy Santis 2.